Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. Six High Court Bar Associations have issued a joint statement urging Chief Justice of India Sanjiv Khanna to initiate a criminal investigation against Justice Varma and revoke the recommendation for his transfer to the Allahabad High Court. Now, the High Court Bar Associations of Allahabad, Lucknow, Madhya Pradesh, that is Jabalpur, Gujarat, Karnataka, and Kerala, met the CJI today to pursue their demands. And speaking to, the Allahabad High Court Bar Association President Anil Tiwari stated that CJI Khanna assured them that their demands would be considered. However, CJI did not promise anything. Now, which way is Justice Varma's case headed? Will there be a criminal investigation? Will there be an FIR against Justice Yashwant Varma? Is the government using this opportunity as an alibi to revive the National Judicial Accountability Commission? Now, joining us this evening on this issue is former Supreme Court Judge Justice Deepak Gupta. So thank you so much for joining on the Federal, and it's a pleasure having you on the program. And so your first thoughts on Justice Yashwant Varma's case. Do you think that this is a case which is unprecedented and never heard of?
I think you got a cut off in between, but I would not like to comment on this case at all, because now that there's a fact-finding committee, it's not proper for me, at least I feel it's not proper for me to comment on the merits of the case. There are too many questions on both sides, and I think the committee, I hope that the committee does a very quickly decides whatever has to be done. It's a fact-finding committee. It's not a final committee, but since the committee is at the job, I think let's do the job.
But what about these demands coming up from the various bar associations of the country and asking Supreme Court not to transfer Justice Yashwant Varma to Allahabad High Court? Now, this is a recommendation which has been made by the Supreme Court, and how do you think this was going to unfold? I mean, is there to be a government approval and then only the transfer takes place? What is the procedure, basically?
This is the collegium only makes a recommendation, and then finally the president, and the president works at the pleasure of the government. The government, whatever on the advice of the government, and therefore, unless the government approves the transfer, it cannot happen. Neelu, you're aware that there are some transferred ordered by a collegium 2 years back from the Gujarat High Court, and those judges have still not transferred. So if the government sits over the transfer, it will sit over the transfer. But I have another issue on transfers. Transfers should not be used as a penalty.
Okay.
A judge, this is no penalty, and who suffers? Like now, the Allahabad High Court is complaining that the Bar Association is saying that don't send the concerned judge back to our court. But he belongs to their court. See, he belongs to their court. He's not come from somewhere. He's come from Allahabad. In fact, I have always believed that, I have spent my time in smaller courts like Himachal, which is my parent high court. I was the first Chief Justice of Tripura, again a small high court. And I find in these courts sometimes people are transferred, people with doubtful integrity are transferred to these smaller courts. And they may be number 15 or 20 in their own court. And suddenly they're at number 1 or 2 in this transferee court. And they are senior members of the collegium, which makes it a very dangerous thing. But right now I think the transfer may serve one purpose alone. I don't know what weighed with the collegium, but I think it may serve one purpose, that the concerned judge, Justice Varma, may not be able to. Maybe that is what the collegium had in mind, that if he's in Delhi, maybe he can influence the police or something, so he's away from here. I don't know. Because it quite often happens when investigations happen that you transfer the person so that he's not in a position to. And anyway, how does the transfer at this time is inconsequential, because Justice Varma is not going to be permitted to do judicial work or administrative. He's not doing any work. He's going to, fortunately, sitting at home. So.
Right. No, but you said two things. You said the transfer should not be taken as a penalty, but in Justice Yashwant Varma's case, it seems that it is the penalty. And the second issue is...
Sorry, I just want... I said, I didn't say, I said transfer should not be a penalty, but it is normally used as a penalty.
Yes.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think, but I don't think it should be used as a penalty.
Right. Okay. But do you think that these demands coming from various bar associations, these are unfair demands where they are saying that the transfer should be revoked? What about these demands coming in from the bar associations then?
At this stage, all of us, should be more interested in trying to reclaim, trying to uphold the majesty of the institution, the integrity of the institution, then rather than fighting battles. As it is, I feel that whether the allegations against the particular judge are right or wrong, the judiciary has been damned.
Absolutely.
See, if he's guilty, then obviously there is going to be a great adverse effect on the judicial system. But supposing he's not guilty, then people are going to say it's a cover-up. Who's going to believe if he, with all this? I mean, just look at it, how everything is being played around on certain channels, selective leaks, selective. I don't want to comment on the merits of the case, but where is that? Who took that video? Where are the
Hmm.
notes? Where has the money vanished? That partly burnt money, where has that vanished? There are no Panchanamas, there are no FIR. I don't know. There are a lot of questions. I don't want to go into those questions, but at this stage, therefore, I feel we should be very careful not to let all hell loose. I'm not saying one way or the other, the allegations may be right, the allegations could be wrong. Let a committee, the Chief Justice and the Collegium have appointed two Chief Justices and a very senior judge as a member of the committee. Let them look into the matter. Let's have that patience to wait for a week or 10 days, and then let's not pass judgment. Look at that poor girl, Riya Chakravarti.
Yeah.
In the Sushant Rajput case, how she was pilloried and vilified and held guilty by various channels. And now after 12 years, how can you give her life back to her? You've ruined her career. You've done everything. How can you? So I think sometimes it's better that we don't discuss certain things. I'm not saying these are not to be discussed, but this is not the appropriate time. I think I
But
rather wait. I
what do
can
you
discuss
feel?
other issues arising out of this. Yeah.
But Justice Gupta, do you think that there has been an unfair media trial in Justice Yashwant Varma's case?
I won't say unfair or fair because we don't know what is the truth.
Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
think some people, one, how did it leak only to one media group?
Yes.
It came from a legal reporter or from one group. Why not? So then who leaked? So who could have leaked it? Either the leak could have come from the police or from the fire brigade or from the court staff, or you could even say one of the judges of the collegium. Most of the other judges, except those who attended the meeting the next day, they wouldn't know what was happening. So we don't know who.
So there can be a possibility where the judges themselves might have leaked this story.
I don't put anything. You see, how can I say that it can only be the police officials? I mean, it can be any one of the people who had information. Anybody could have leaked.
Hmm.
And why was it leaked? You see, because there are certain questions which will have to be. We have no answers at this stage. Therefore, I mean, I can't answer your questions, and I would be doing guesswork. I don't want to do guesswork. I'd rather
No,
have better.
no, you're right when you say that we should not speculate because the inquiry is on. But Justice Gupta, but as a judge, as somebody who's clued into the legalities of the issues, uh, do you think, I mean, the prima facie, what does it look like? Because there are many senior lawyers who said and who've been talking in the legal circles that a Delhi High Court judge, he will not do this foolish act of, collecting bags of money and putting it in his outhouse, and then it's so easily detectable, then burned. That's also a logic which is doing the rounds. What do you
That
feel?
No. You see, that's why I said I don't want my feelings to come into the at this stage. But yes, this is the questions which are troubling me also. I mentioned these are. Does anybody, leave aside a high court judge or anybody? Does anybody keep any money in an outhouse, locked or
Absolutely.
unlocked? Huh? I mean, I've lived in one of those houses. The outhouses are quite far away most of the time. I don't know, but I still will not say I'm not holding any brief for Justice Varma, but at the same time, I'm not holding a brief against him at this stage. If the committee finds that the money was there in that room, whether it was an outhouse, then Justice Varma will have to explain. But we don't even know where that movie was shot. Can we say with any authenticity that that video has been shot in that room, or where? And if it was shot in that room, where is the money? Because in the video you see stacks of unburnt notes or semi-burnt notes. Where is that gone? Now another question: was it real money or fake money? We don't know. I mean, there are so many questions. See, you also, now that Justice Varma was not there, his wife was not there, his daughter rang. They rang up, the police came. Now, I'm sure if that much money was found in that room, the phones must have gone to the top brass at all levels. Even before they would inform the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, they would have informed their own officials first. कि सर ये हुआ क्या करें?
Yeah.
And then we have the fire officer, fire chief one day saying something, then next day saying something else. So there are a lot of questions to be. For me, the worrying part is that this tarnishes the image of the judiciary, whatever be the result.
But sir, right.
One is Justice Varma. I mean, if he comes out unscathed, he'll still suffer. He and his family will still suffer a loss. If he's guilty, he deserves to suffer it. But if he's not guilty, he doesn't deserve to suffer it. But as far as the institution is concerned, whether Justice Varma gets off scot-free or not, the institution is being damaged. And if what Justice Varma is saying is right, then it has very dangerous ramifications. So I don't know what is, but at this stage, I don't want to guess who is right or who is wrong. You see, let's be honest, we can't second guess that.
Right. But Justice Gupta, now coming to whatever has been happening within Parliament, outside Parliament, in the legal circles, the kind of discussion which is happening and what we have seen since Justice Yashwant Varma's case, people have started saying that government will use this case as an alibi to revive the National Judicial Accountability Commission. Now, do you think that could be a possibility? Because Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar had called in a meeting of all the floor leaders and he started talking about NJAC. Now, does that look like a possibility?
Not a possibility. It's almost certain that they'll use this as an opportunity to bring back the NJC in one form or the other. See, I myself, Nilu, I think I've had a discussion with you earlier. I'm not a great fan of the way the collegium system is functioning at. I have written at places. I feel the collegium system, as it is functioning today, is not a proper system. But at the same time, I would be loath. It would be very, very dangerous to hand over the appointment of judges to government alone. I'm not saying that the government should have no say in the matter. See, the government, I am not one of those judges who believe that the government should not have any say. In fact, even now, government has a say in the matter of appointment of judges because everything goes to the government sends the file, and the government, we have one gentleman judge, very competent judge, but because of his sexual orientation, one lawyer, he is one of the most competent lawyers for the last 5 years. His name has not been, is been held up by the government. So it doesn't that the government can't, there's so many names which have been held up. But I do believe that the government is going to come out with, this is my feeling, that they will now try to use this as an opportunity. But do you think this will not happen? I'm not talking, now I want to make it clear, I'm not talking about Justice Varma at all. But there are errant judges There will always be errant judges, whatever system of appointment you use. You can appoint very honest people, sometimes they turn corrupt. Sometimes people turn corrupt at the fag end of their career when they're near retiring. Sometimes they turn corrupt because they want certain assignments from the government. Corruption is not only money. For me, corruption is when you decide a matter in a particular manner, not in accordance with law, but in accordance or extraneous consideration. That is corruption. Corruption does it can be a favor in kind or in cash. So if some judge decides a matter before retirement in favor of a party, either for monetary gains or expecting the government to give him some sinecure after retirement, then that is corruption, equal corruption, in my view. So this system we have to have. I agree that we need to have a better system of appointment of judges. I'm not even totally against an NJAC. I mean, in fact, when the NJAC was first, when it was challenged before the Supreme Court, I thought it was a case of a missed opportunity where if the court could have given in an inch and the government could have also given in, and there could have been a meeting ground that these are the ways. Primacy should remain with the courts, but there must be solid inputs not only from the government but even from concerned citizens but not every citizen can be part of a appointment committee of High Court and Supreme Court judges. It has to be somebody, you have to eminent. The words, if I remember rightly, used was eminent personality. I can think of two very eminent personalities, Lata Mangeshkar, Sachin Tendulkar. Nobody can have a quarrel with, but would they be suited to appoint judges? So you have to look at a more. But if you talk of Mr. K.K. Venugopal being the eminent personality to sit on a committee to appoint judges, why not? The present Attorney General, why not? It is not party bias or something, because people, if it was Mr. Arun Jaitley was alive today, I would have said happily that he could be on the committee, because I knew that when it came to the judiciary, he would not take partisan view. Mr. Kapil Sibal, I would be happy with, because these are people who think for the betterment of the institution.
What I'm worried about is, and there are many people who are worrying about the fact that will the government or can the government use this opportunity to capture the judiciary? Now, I'm using the word capture because, like in the instance of election commission, we've seen how the appointments of the chief election commissioners and election commissioners are happening. Now, can the judiciary's appointment also go the same slope?
I hope it does not. They'll try their best. See, if you look back, till almost 70, 71, all appointments were made on the recommendation of the Chief Justice of India. Government hardly had any one or two recommendations. I'm talking about the Supreme Court now. From 71 onwards, after Mrs. Gandhi came back in 69, rather, when she came back in power again with a great majority, then she started this trend of having a lot of appointments who were government nominees. The government initiated a lot of appointments. But you had some very fine people amongst them. You had V.R. Krishna Iyer, who came in as the nominee of the government, the judge whom everybody respects today. And then came the collegium system. First one collegium system, then later this collegium system, which functioned very well. But finally, every system is only as good as the men and women who man the system. If the men and women are lacking, it is not the collegium system which has failed. It is the people who are in the collegium who have failed the system. Because when you appoint judges, you see, Niru, I mean, look at the High Court collegium. It consists of 3 judges. I'm talking about Allahabad High Court, which has 160. I think it has a vacancy of 160 strength. You have 3 in the collegium. The Chief Justice is always going to be from outside. You may have 1 or 2 other judges from outside in the collegium. The outsiders don't know who works. See, the layman doesn't understand that the Chief Justice only hears writ petitions and public interest litigations and all. He doesn't even see those lawyers who do criminal work or who do civil work, which is the bulk of the work of the courts. So then they become dependent on their judges. Then the favorites judges come in. So we need something much broader based. First, even in the court selection, we need a more transparent selection. We need more, and more than the Supreme Court, it's this High Court vacancies which worry me. The High Court is where this is the base of the of the superior judiciary, or what we call the constitutional courts. If the High Court judges are not well appointed well, we are heading for trouble.
What do you feel that, according to you, which system is better? If it goes the NJAC way or the collegium? You said that you were not happy because the judges within the collegium have failed the system. But in your wisdom, what is better?
See, I am not. I always, there was a time when I also favored the collegium system, but I have my doubts now. Maybe if we can either, my first initial reaction was to save the independence of the judiciary, the integrity of the university, of the judiciary. We should still stick with the collegium system, but we must have a much better system of inputs. But I have one, my biggest problem with the collegium system is that the judges of the collegium system have a unholy hold on the senior judges of the high courts. All the first 3-4 judges and the chief justice who are waiting to be appointed to the Supreme Court, the collegium judges of the collegium, I mean, some are very nice, but there are some who exercise. Now, I feel, for me, a very simple solution is making the retirement age of judges of the High Court and the Supreme Court equal. All this, a lot of people will not even want to come to the Supreme Court. And then you can choose the more intellectually minded people to come to the Supreme Court and the more administratively capable people to man these as chief justices. That is one, I feel. And if you, supposing, I'm not saying 65 only chahiye or 68, it could be 70, it could be 62, but have one age. They do the same work. Supreme Court judges, High Court judges do the same work. There is no reason why there should be a different age. And this is what Mr. Arun Jaitley used to always say, and I had discussions with him on this, and I really. Secondly, there should be no post-retirement benefit appointments at all. You have these two things, any system will work. The collegium system will work beautifully if that is the situation.
No, but what is the hitch in introducing both these systems?
Nobody, the government doesn't want it, and neither does you see, हर एक को control चाहिए ना. Everybody wants, the Supreme Court also wants control over the High Court. If you look at the Constitution, the Supreme Court has no control over the High Court. They are too independent. The salary of Justice of the High Court is equal to the salary of a judge of the Supreme Court. Only the Chief Justice of India gets a higher salary. But it's that perk of 3 years more, which is the most. But if you look at the beginning years, for the first 10 years, Justice Rajmanar from Madras, Justice Chagla from Calcutta, from Bombay, they were directly appointed judgeship and even Chief Justice. None of them ever accepted. But now, तो होड़ लगी हुई है कि हमने दिल्ली पहुंचना. So for me, it's I think, and another, if we can have one age, if supposing 65 is today the age it's made High Court judges, for 3 years you will have no retirement of High Court judges, your vacancy situation will improve.
Absolutely.
So it takes care of many things. I don't know why people don't, and I have been writing about this, I've been talking about this. And the second is post-retirement benefits should just come to an end. Not only for judges, for bureaucrats, for everybody.
Absolutely.
You make one retirement, you make it 65, you make it 70, it's up to you. But tell everybody that after this, you have to fend for yourself. You can't expect living off the government. Because If you have no posts after that, then people will, not be sucking up to the powers that be.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, my last question to you, Justice Gupta, is that since you said that the entire story hinges around the control, everybody wants a control. The Supreme Court wants a control, and the High Court, the government wants to control the judges. Do you think that this malady actually can be cleansed? Whether it is judicial corruption, whether it is the appointment of the judges, how will this malady be addressed when there is no political will to do it? On both sides, on the government side and as well as the legal side, where the judges also don't want it, or maybe the Supreme Court also doesn't want it. So,
Oh,
how is this going to be cleansed then?
sorry to interrupt you, but I don't think, I won't say that the courts don't. Some people don't want it. Some people don't want to do it. But I think most of the judges in the Supreme Court, most of the judges would like a change to happen to make a broader based. I would like a more transparent, a more broader based system of appointment. But the primacy, the final word, the veto should always be of the Supreme Court or the High Court concerned, and not with the government. That would be you can't develop that system over 10 minutes chat or a 15-minute chat. It would have to be a long drawn out. But you can't exclude the government from the system of appointment. They are big stakeholders. We finally have to trust people also. There are good governments, there are bad governments, there are more aggressive governments, there are less aggressive governments. But I can tell you my experience is that whenever anybody has more majority of brute power, then they try to exercise more control.
But one last question before I wind up the interview. On the first day in Parliament, when this Justice Yashwant Varma's case came up, Jairam Ramesh from Congress was the first opposition leader to raise this issue in Rajya Sabha, and he told Jagdeep Dhankar that let's have a discussion. Now, many people feel that this was an opportunity given to the government on a platter by Mr. Jairam Ramesh, that come on now, let's discuss. And the nation needs to know as to what has really happened, from where the notes came. And this opportunity was lapped up by the government.
See, that's the problem. I agree with you to partially, but you see, that's the problem. Now, what is the news item? I was not in India at that time, but from what I've gathered, it was one news agency which published this news. Now, what was the authenticity of that news at that stage? I don't think, but since the news was so, it said that so much money has been recovered from a judge's house. At that time, we don't know. Now questions are being asked, but at that time, so I think Jairam Ramesh may have been, his intentions may have been good, but he didn't realize that this is a government which will, they will make use of every opportunity to take control of institutions.
Okay, so let's wait and watch how things unfold. And of course, all eyes would be on the investigation being done by the Supreme Court inquiry panel. And we'll have to wait and see how things unfold. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. It was wonderful to have you on the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Neil.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, sir.